CEX stock thousands and thousands of video games, so it can be very difficult for us, the consumers, to keep on top of what prices are doing. I've had a lot of people ask me in the past, do I keep a tracker of certain video games so I know if they fluctuate in price? So I know if the price goes down, I know to go and buy them if I want to put them in my collection, and that way I get the most bang for my buck, if you will. But no, I don't have a tracker. I probably should, because it would make life a hell of a lot easier, but it's all up here. That's not me trying to show off and say that I have a very good memory, but the way that I do things when it comes to video games is I will visit CEX a lot, as probably you can tell from the amount of content that I make based around CEX. And therefore, I'm just used to the prices, and it also helps when the CEX staff just sticker over things with a price so that you can kind of see what the price was before if you look close enough. So in CEX, I'm having a little look through the PlayStation 3 section. To be fair, I'm picking up these essential games for a reason. I'm not buying them, but I am going to talk about that kind of thing in another video. I wanted to do it this week. Unfortunately, I just don't have the time. But just look forward to that. It's nothing to do with PlayStation 3 Essentials, incidentally. But anyway, let's move on from the cryptic stuff, and we're going to move over to the 360, because there are some games going up in price, but there are also some games coming down in price. In this video, not only am I going to be talking about price fluctuations, I am going to show you some pickups as well. I will make sure that I put these in series videos as well, so that you know what I'm spending the money on, and of course we can take it off the overall balance. If you want to go check out a video from the series, you can find it linked on the channel or in the description. This is from a previous video, of course. This is Backbreaker. I ended up buying that, spoiler alert. I haven't played it just yet, but I'm really looking forward to it. I really like these CSI games. Most of the games on the 360 I've only ever played because of achievements. I used to play anything and everything. And games like Sherlock Holmes and CSI were just very easy for achievements, but I ended up really enjoying them. I couldn't remember whether I actually owned Battlefield Bad Company or not. I talked about it the other day with Destructive Buildings. Is that the way? Is that a thing? Yeah, but I talked about it the other day when I was talking about Earth Defense Force, and it made me think, do I own that game? Incidentally, yes I do, and I'm glad I didn't buy it, because then I would have 2 copies, and you can't really sell them on. Now, when it comes to price fluctuations, we are going to come to my very first game on the list here of games that I've noticed have gone up in price recently. Now, these aren't massive price hikes, but they're going in the wrong direction for the most part. So the first one is going to be Fatal Inertia. This was £4 a couple of days ago, and now it's £5. And yes, they've been lazy and just stuck the sticker over the top of it. Makes sense. That's what I used to do in CEX, until I got told off. No, not CEX, Game Station. Until I got told off, and you're not allowed to do that. But obviously, different company, different rules. But Fatal Inertia has gone up in price. And there are a fair few other games that have gone up in price as well. This has gone up in price, I think. This was £10 not that long ago. I wouldn't say in the last few days, but now it's 12. And I've mentioned it before, right? But 360, in the next 12 months, it's going. It is going to fly for a lot of games. This is another one. This was £6, and again, it's been stuck over. It's now 8, Lost Planet 3. I picked that up last week, maybe a week before, when it was 6, so I knew that one off the top of my head. NBA Jam, I've not noticed this one go up in price, to be honest, recently. However, it is £8, and it is a game that I really wanted. But again, it's going to be one of those that is going to fly. I had a look to see if it was double stickered. I don't think it was. Why is 360 due a price hike? Well, I mean, it's got a lot to do with Xbox Live and such, but this has gone up from 15 to 20, so that's a bit more of a significant jump. It does definitely have a lot to do with the online and the Xbox Live shutting down, the store shutting down next year, of course, so there is that. But it's one of those where we're in that period now where we're going to be getting to this being so many generations back. People want to go back and hit that for nostalgia. This is actually a game that's come down in price. This is Overlord, and this is my very first pickup of this video. So £2.50 spent. It is double stickered, so they have gone over it. It was £3.50. I have been looking at this every single time I've gone into CEX over the last, I don't know, 2-3 months, and it's always been so cheap that I thought, well, I don't need to rush and buy it, because even if it does go up in price, it's still only going to be £4.50, a £5 at a push. And to be fair, even if I had to pay £5 for this game, it's worth it. Complete with manual. Disc is in awful condition, if I'm honest. In fact, I have a few games to show you in this video, and all of them I would say are in questionable condition. They don't have cracks in the spindle or anything, and they aren't too badly scratched to the point where they won't play, but I know full well if I tried to trade these in, I probably would be met with a little bit of resistance. Maybe, you know, you just got to catch a certain member of staff on a good day, if you will, a good day for you trading in. Yeah, wasn't too happy when I saw the condition of the disc, but I have tested it and it does load, so I'm not that bothered, I suppose. This is a great game though. I haven't actually played the second one, so if you've played the second one, Overlord 2, which you've seen in the background of the footage just a little bit, let me know what you think of it. I love this game though, just controlling your little hordes of minions. You are the Overlord essentially, hence the name of the game. Really, really fun, and for £2.50, was not leaving that there. We are going to continue with a little look around CEX. Now, I don't know if I actually pick up the other games on camera or not, but I will show you them as and when we get there. In terms of price hikes though, it will continue with a few games in just a second. Overlord coming down in price is one of those rare occasions where I've had my eye on the game and finally it drops. Usually it goes the other way, and then I'm like, oh, now I'm either going to have to pay up for this or I'm just going to leave it. And that's where the Mario All-Stars on the Switch came in. I just had to leave it. Like, I've just not bought that. I saw it at 45. That's gone up. That was 4. It's now 5. I think that was in the last video actually, where we talked about some 360 stuff, and I said I wanted to get it, but it has now gone up in price. Having another little look around, a couple of games I wouldn't mind picking up actually, some weird ones like Madagascar, but they've got like blueprinted covers. And then we come to Supreme Commander. This is yet another one of my pickups. Now this isn't a game that's gone up or down in recent times as far as I can remember. This is Supreme Commander 2. Of course there is a first one. This is an RTS, and it's not a game I've played an awful lot of. Me and people we work with, or rather I work with, went through an RTS phase back when the 360 was out, and then we moved over to PC because the poor little 360 can't really cope with RTSs too well. Command & Conquer, Kane's Wrath and Tiberian Wars are the two that just we lived on, but then we branched out. We tried Supreme Commander 1, and then we tried the second one when it came out. I remember paying 45 quid for this, although I did get discount, but I remember paying £45 for it, and I think I played it for all of 45 minutes. You know, I literally paid £1 a minute. It was, I don't think I remember it being that good, but we then moved over to the PC side of things, so I think that might have something to do with it. Again, complete with the manual, and again, the disc is not in great condition. It's a little bit surprising actually when it comes to a game like this, because these type of games aren't in and out of consoles too often. I feel like they're in the console for an awful long time, then they go in the case for an awful long time. It's not like a FIFA or a Call of Duty, which is being swapped constantly. So I was a bit surprised to see the disc in relatively poor condition, but again, it does load, so I'm not going to complain too much. If you've played either of the Supreme Commander games on the 360, let me know what you think. £1.50 spent there. Bit of a bargain really. I mean, games for a quid or 2 quid or 4 quid or whatever. I mean, these were once, like I said, I paid £45 for that once upon a time. So to pay £1.50 now, I mean, it has to be a bargain. But let me know what you think if you have played it in the comments. And are you an RTS fan? It's a real-time strategy for those of you who don't know. So basically just top down. This is one of the most frustrating games on the Xbox 360, and I won't have it any other way. This is Sniper Ghost Warrior. They can shoot you through rocks, and that drove me insane when I was trying to get the achievements on that game. So I will eventually pick it up, but not yet. I looked at some PS3 games, and that game we already have, and of course Spider-Man is spiking right now because the new game came out, and Spider-Man always seems to be on the rise. So if you ever see a Spider-Man game out in the wild, not in a store like CEX, I would highly recommend that you get it if it's a reasonable price compared to CEX. Games I do want on the 360 though, Fear, and I can never find them. There's 3 of them as far as I can remember. Full Auto is a really, really fun game. If you've never played Full Auto on the PS3, haven't really touched the second one too much, but the first one I always remember being a really good game. Very, very cheap as well. I found Fear 2 there as well. It was completely random, like different place to Fear 3, but still, those are games that I fear are a little bit more expensive on the Xbox 360 for whatever reason, but still, games I am definitely going to need to pick up at some point. When it comes to my PlayStation 3 knowledge, unfortunately, I'm not that clued up on what has gone up and what has come down, but the price fluctuations do seem to be an awful lot less on the PlayStation 3 compared to that of the 360. And as I'm collecting for 360 quite heavily at the moment, I noticed the prices going up and down a lot more. So even though I've only touched on a couple of those games there are a lot of 360 games that are going up in price. And I will reiterate it until I'm blue in the face. If you haven't started your collection yet, or maybe you're halfway through it, or maybe you've only got a few and you do plan to go out and get more 360 games at some point, trust me. If you don't trust me for anything else, trust me on this. Sooner rather than later is what you need to keep telling yourself. I need to go and collect for 360 now. I cannot afford to wait, because trust me, and it's not just me saying it, other people are saying it as well in the industry, if you will. If you don't go out now and buy them, in 6 months, in 12 months time, the games are going to be far more expensive than they are now. And I'm not saying every game is going to be 40 quid, because that's just not what's going to happen. But games that are £3-4 now are going to be £6-7-8. That doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're trying to buy a lot of games, that is going to add up very, very quickly. You're potentially going to add 50 quid for every 10 games that you want to buy. So you're better off trying to get them now, whether it be using cash, but obviously my preferred friend credit would be much better. This next game I remember purely playing for the achievements. I remember sitting in my room playing through this game, trying to knock off every achievement as fast as possible, because I wanted to return this the next day, because, and I forget what game it was, there was another game coming out. I think I picked this up on the Monday. Games used to come out on Friday, but they used to come into the store on a Tuesday. And on Thursday and Friday and Saturday we chilled on Sunday. So I was trying to play it Monday night, trying to get it finished so that I could get the new game on Tuesday. It is Legends of Wrestlemania. Now, it wasn't like Legends of Wrestlemania 2 I was trying to buy. It was nothing to do with wrestling, in fact. It might have been UFC, but I can't really remember what it was. But I knew that this new game was coming out, and I wanted to get this finished as fast as possible. £1.50 spent. I didn't actually buy this back in the day. I borrowed it from work, because we were allowed to do that. If you had like one, if you had two copies secondhand, you were allowed to borrow one. And then if someone bought one and then your one was the only one left in the company, you have to bring it back. But I remember this being okay. I don't remember it being very, very good, to be fair. The official WWE games, or WWF, or whenever it was, were definitely better. This was more of, I don't know, it wasn't cartoony necessarily, it just wasn't that great. It does come complete with a manual and the disc. Yes, you've guessed it, not in the best of conditions. It is much harder to keep these 360 discs in good condition, especially when you compare them to the PlayStation 3 discs, which are obviously Blu-ray and they're coated differently and they're just much harder to scratch. But of course you know that, and I don't need to tell you. But that game for £1.50, is that a bargain? Well, like I said, I mean, video games for £1.50 it doesn't matter if it's the worst game of all time, it's still not really a bad deal, is it? You know, I mean, this game once upon a time was 40 quid brand new, and someone paid it, and I probably sold it to them. I didn't go mad. I bought 3 games that I just fancied playing at the time. It's not just 360 that's going up in price. I have seen a few games on the PlayStation 3, especially ones that have counterparts on the 360. You know, if the 360 spikes, then the PlayStation 3 is likely to see a spike, because those consoles aren't that expensive anymore. People are going to own both of them, and for the most part, if you can't get it on the 360, maybe you'll just be happy to get it on the PS3. So they do kind of go up together. And I have noticed some original Xbox games have really started to fly lately. So those in particular are games that I'm trying to focus on. I've not bought too many, because to be fair, I don't really want that many in my collection. But if you are looking for original Xbox games, I would say now's the time. But to be honest, you know, weeks and months gone by has been the time. Now you're in the hike. So is it going to dip down again in the future? Maybe, but to be honest, I think it's going to keep going up before it comes down again. So if you do want those original Xbox games and you can see them cheap in the wild, Facebook Marketplace, car boot sales, charity shops, etc., I would definitely be pulling the trigger on them. But even things like PlayStation 2 now, again, they're starting to go up in price. It's not a massive surge on prices, if you will. Not everything is going up, but I am noticing that CEX are starting to, bump their prices here or there across all platforms. So I'm not noticing it too much on games on like the PS5 and the PS4 and even the Xbox One. In fact, if anything, it's now a brilliant time to buy those games because those are starting to come down in price an awful lot. PlayStation 4 and Xbox One in particular, there are bargains everywhere. Maybe I will do another video on those, just showcasing some of the games I think that are really good to go out and buy. A lot of people have Game Pass these days, and that makes perfect sense. But of course, if you're watching this, there is a very good chance you are a physical collector, and I would love to start getting into Xbox One collecting more than I am right now. But without the console right now, I do feel like it's a little bit pointless. But when I come back from my holiday, I'm going to really put some focus on Xbox One and indeed the Series X, try and get those consoles acquired, and then go after some really nice games for the collection. If you want to check out a video from my series where I build a free game collection, you can click here, and until the next time, goodbye.